Hello, everyone. This is Kevin with Pages to Pixels. I'm joined by my co host, Rohan, and today we've got a really good episode for you. We're going to be talking about the new Christopher Nolan directed 3 hour epic, The Odyssey, starring Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, and a bunch of other people. Um,
I think it would take
and
too long to list them all.
yeah, and Homer Simpson, and Marge, and Maggie, and Lisa. Because it's Homer's Odyssey. They're obviously in it. But before we get into that, make sure to like and subscribe as it helps support our channel, and comment below what you thought of the Odyssey. I know that this is going to be, we're at the midpoint of the year, right? And this is probably the biggest release um, so far, at least critically and commercially. There's so many big name stars in it, people who we've seen in other films earlier this year. I mean, we saw the drama a couple months ago with Robert Pattinson, Zendaya.
Hmm
They're both in it. Spider-Man, Tom Holland's in it, of course. um, there's just been so many things going on. This feels like the almost like a big like collab between a bunch of different people.
Yeah, it feels like the big event of the year. And I know it's not the biggest movie of the year. Like, it didn't have the biggest opening weekend. I believe that's still Toy Story. And I believe Mario is ahead of it also. But, it's like those are family movies. When you're, like, if, you're not buying one ticket, you're usually buying, like, three or four.
Yeah.
Um, so this feels like, okay, this is like the one that everyone was kind of anticipating. Of course,
Mhm.
Nolan's follow up after he won Best Picture and Best Director. Um, and yeah, like you said, just that huge, massive cast. Um, and yeah, it does feel like it was the most anticipated. I mean, I remember IMAX tickets went on sale literally a year ago. Um,
Mhm.
and they sold out, or a lot of screens and showtime sold out literally a year ago. Um, and now we finally got this. And we're going to jump into the movie, but I want to ask you this: is is Nolan like the number one star in Hollywood right now?
The number one star.
Yeah, because I know they always talk about movie stars like it'll be like Robert Downey Jr. Of course, you have guys like Matt Damon in here. Um, but it feels like for a while it's been movie stars, and then for the past 10, 15 years it's been more of the franchises and the characters. um, but even that, sometimes if you get it, sometimes the franchise doesn't necessarily do well, but it feels like right now it's just like, it you put Christopher Nolan's name on something, it's gonna make money.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. For me, I think people will always show up for the people in the movie first. Um,
Hmm
Now, there's like pros and cons to that, because I do think, this is a random tangent, but like a couple weeks ago, I watched a movie called Love Happens, which you've probably
hmm
never heard of. It stars Jennifer
I have not.
Aniston and Aaron Eckhart. And as I was watching this movie, all I could think of was like, who is this movie for? Like, it's a rom-com, sure. Like, so it's for like people who like rom-coms, but like, who is it for? Like, when they were pitching that movie, did they go, "Oh, it's beautiful. We got Jennifer Aniston and everyone
Hmm
loves her." Like, that's what I think it like people treat some movies like. And even today
Yeah.
there's still movies that keep coming out that's like the only reason it's there is cuz like the star attached to it.
hmm
Um but I think with something like Christopher Nolan name attached to it, I mean, I think his critical and just general audience success is so large. He
Yeah.
can afford to put literally anyone, I think, in his movies, and I think people would show up. So, like, I agree. I agree with what your line of thinking is, but I think ultimately, like, no, I don't think Nolan is the movie star. I think that's probably like, I want to say it's like Zendaya right now. if I had to pick anyone. Like she's in just so many things, and I can't see anyone like being like, oh, Zendaya's not in enough things. I think she's in a lot. So.
Yeah, the reason I say Nolan is because I just feel like, I mean, I look at obviously the success of the Odyssey, but then you look at, I think, you look at the success of Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, I feel like you, and a lot of this is goodwill that he's built by just making like great movie after great movie. Um, but I feel like Oppenheimer, you have the exact same movie, and you take, but you just swap out Christopher Nolan's name with another director. I mean, I think it might do well, but Oppenheimer nearly made $1 billion for a biopic. That's kind of
Mhm.
unheard of, especially if it's not like a musical biopic. Like I know Michael is closing in on $1 billion, or might have actually surpassed Oppenheimer. I'm not sure. Um,
Yeah.
but that's kind of more so what I meant. Like you just put his name. Like you could literally, I feel like Universal could release the next Nolan movie, not with, and just be like Christopher Nolan next movie, untitled. You don't know much about it, and it's gonna make a decent amount of money.
I agree with you, but also I think Oppenheimer did benefit a lot from the Barbenheimer effect. His previous movie Tenet did not do as well. Um,
That came out in
and
the
I
middle of COVID, so you can't really.
yeah,
I feel like you got to push that one aside.
that's true, but also like critically, like I think, compared to others, I think it definitely had way more criticism than I saw
Mm-hmm.
Oppenheimer or The Odyssey get, and I am forgetting what was before Tenet. I want
It
to
was
almost say that
Dunkirk.
was yeah, Dunkirk. I mean, Dunkirk got Oscar nominations. I don't know if it was super popular, but it was
It
definitely
was, yeah. It actually made quite a bit at the box office. A lot more. I mean, it's not near Oppenheimer. It's not near the Dark Knight movies. But it made a lot more than. I mean, it was a war movie. It made a lot
Mhm.
more than what most war movies make.
Yeah. And and speaking of war, I mean, I think something about the Odyssey that also helps is it's very familiar. Almost everyone
Mm-hmm.
growing up who went to school probably has read the Odyssey or, you know, tried to read the Odyssey, and then they probably have been telling you about how they couldn't get through it or whatever, some nonsense about not reading it. But I think ultimately it's a very familiar story. I think Oppenheimer is a little bit of an anomaly for me, that it found that success, but the irony
Mm-hmm.
of going to see Barbie, super bright pink, going to this depressing 3 hour biopic. I
Yeah.
think there's a novelty to that with the Odyssey. I think it's purely like people actually do care about old storytelling, and I agree with what you said that if Christopher Nolan's name weren't attached to this, I could see some people. I could see this getting less money, but I don't necessarily think it would make no money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not saying it would make no money at all, but yeah,
yeah,
I don't think it would have sold out screenings a year in advance. I guess is the better way to say it.
yeah. I mean, he's had film head fans for years. All the jokes about film school buffs
Yeah.
is always directed at like there's that one Christopher Nolan head, and you happen to be the one that was our Christopher Nolan head. And I don't think you've ever acted like a film snob ever, even about Christopher Nolan. So I think I think people need to stop with the. I think it's like a what's the word, like a it's a conspiracy. Yeah, people need to stop the conspiracy. Film bros, they can be cool and like Christopher Nolan. They're not going to be all all snobs. The real problem is the guy that's trying to get you to watch what's it called? Uh oh, I'm forgetting. It's not Irreversible. That's the problem in your film school classroom. If they're trying to tell you to watch Irreversible, you got to watch out for that guy.
Yeah, yeah. Nolan fans get a bad rap for some reason. I think it's just because of how popular. he is, it kind of
Hmm.
becomes the thing of, and listen, like, um, I mean, he was definitely my favorite director for a while. I feel like now he's still my favorite director when it comes to like big budget blockbuster event movies. I just feel like he's kind of does it the best. Like he's the one I feel like I get the most excited about.
Hmm.
But it's like, I feel like it's hard for me to compare a guy like Nolan and, let me think, a guy like Edgar Wright. They're just so
Hmm.
different filmmakers. Um, it's like if you want me to talk comedy, of course Edgar Wright is like just a next level. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, Nolan fans get a bad rap for whatever reason. I think it's because he got started getting so popular with like casual audiences as well, that
Hmm.
the really super film people started kind of being like, yeah, let me move on to others. And his fans are also very very passionate, I guess. So I definitely feel like some of them can get very grating.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's almost like LeBron fans when it comes to the NBA. They'll be making these like songs about him on TikTok that goes viral, and non-LeBron fans are like, guys, relax.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely becoming like a big, like almost like put him on the Mount Rushmore of modern directors. Um, like there probably was a
Hmm.
time where Spielberg was like on it, and I feel like at this point right now, like Spielberg probably not on it. Like I mean, Disclosure Day, I know we didn't cover it, we haven't seen it, maybe, or I know you watched it, right? Um, or did you not catch it?
No, I have not seen it yet. No.
Yeah.
Um,
See, he fell
I
off.
will
What
probably
are you
watch
gonna
it
do?
when it's on streaming.
Yeah, same. Um, but hey,
Yeah.
I know we've given a lot of build up to this. What is your experience with the Odyssey before watching it? Like, this source material. Like, are you a fan of it? What did you expect going into it?
So I read a condensed version in high school. I actually, at the time, I thought it was the whole thing, and then I realized later that, like, oh wait, no, it's actually a massive book. But I basically read a condensed version, and it kind of does have like all the beats. I mean, you kind of see most of it in the movie, and so I read that, and then the only adaptation that I've seen of the Odyssey is actually "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou." Uh,
Hmm.
and I don't think I was quite ready for that movie when in like ninth grade, right? Because we basically read it in class and then we watched it in class. And
Hmm.
ninth grade, everyone's automatically like, your teacher puts on a movie unless it's a movie you already like know, or um is like a Harry Potter or Marvel, something like that, or Star Wars. You're like, oh, this is probably gonna suck.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, already I think ninth grade, not necessarily ready for Coen Bros and all that. So honestly, I don't remember that movie much. I want to watch it again, but that's why I mean, I was very excited for this movie because I do remember reading the Odyssey, and I don't remember necessarily loving it, but I remember the details of it, which is something I don't know if I can say that for all the books I read in high school, even the ones that I liked. What about you?
Yeah, I remember I read like I think part of the Odyssey in high school, but then in a Greek civilization class I had to read the whole thing. And Greek Civ was like my worst subject. Um, and I hate having to repeat my not my failures. I didn't fail the class, but like lately I've just been mentioning this story because like I struggled so badly in Greek Civ, and I don't know why. Like I feel like I understand it, but I think there was a lot of like intricacies about like the what and why, and also remembering all of the Greek gods and like what they do and who they interact with and who is their kin, all of that. I cannot memorize that stuff. Tell me, tell me about a battle and what happened and why it happened. I'll know it. Everything else, I will completely like blank on. So, um, yeah. And this reminds me when I was outside the theater, like I went to the restroom during the movie, and some girl was complaining. She was like, "We didn't even get to see Poseidon or Athena," and like I was like, "Wait a minute. First of all, you can see Athena. The second thing is Poseidon is like, invisible. Like the
Yeah,
whole, storms and stuff and Zeus. Um, I thought the way that I know we haven't quite jumped into the plot of the movie yet, but I will say that I think that the way that they handled the Greek gods, I think was pretty cool because it felt like, it almost felt like they were both real and not real. Like there's so many mysterious, like
yeah,
mythical things in the that happen to everyone, but I think there's also a world where you can like interpret this as like stories and mythos being created by his exploration uh throughout the land.
yeah. I mean, why don't we just jump right into the movie, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I so overall, I really, really, really liked this movie. I have some minor like nitpicks that I
Hmm.
kind of just want to talk about real quick. I want to get them out of the way before we can start talking about the rest of the movie that we liked. Um,
Hmm.
Real small nitpick, and I know everyone on the internet has been talking about it. Some of the dialogue, specifically Tom Holland saying "Dad," it did take me out of the movie for a second. It's not so much that I'm like, oh my god, this movie sucks, right? But it was like, it did feel literally just the word dad felt out of place. And I feel like it just nearly every line where he says dad, if he said father instead, I think would have worked.
Yeah, I understand where that's coming from. Like you're trying to make it more period accurate. Um,
Yeah,
But also, I would have been a little bit annoyed by father, father, father. Like,
I
I feel
guess.
like I would have been annoyed that even no matter what outcome, it's more just like the way that Tom Holland is delivering the lines that could
Yeah,
be seen as like
I
mildly
guess.
annoying.
I guess. My other like minor nitpick is, and I know that this is kind of the Odyssey. Um, and it's something that Nolan does get criticized for a lot is that his female characters don't really do anything. Um, and I guess I would say that with Anne Hathaway, I think she is queen, but I feel like if we just had a scene or two of her actually being queen, like they mentioned the elders and how the elders are putting pressure on her, and how the kingdom will not rally around her. I mean, I feel like if we just literally just rip off a scene from House of the Dragon where like she's there with like a council and she's like, oh my god, the people from the sea are coming, and she's trying to raise an army, but she just can't, and it's very clear um, that it's sexist. But I feel like every time you see her, she is just wanting Odysseus to come back,
Hmm.
and and like even when you see her inside of her uh inside like past the sliding door, it's she's just kind of like knitting that. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I feel like if we saw her trying to govern but failing, and then she's like, yeah, I need like, we could have seen it, could have the whole like, oh, she has to pick a suitor thing could have felt a little bit more urgent. um and I feel like you would just see her like struggle more. It just makes more sense as to why she's like, God damn, I really needed Odysseus to come back.
Hmm. Um, yeah, I mean, again, that's another note that I understand, and I think, like just one scene would not hurt to like help
Hmm.
flesh out her like actual leadership skills in action. Like I think she would probably but my expectation is that she would probably still not be successful with it. I think that it's pretty integral to
Hmm.
her character how much she not only misses him, but also just like she doesn't want to do this. Like he was the king before he was the
Yeah.
one in charge. She doesn't want this position, and I don't
Yeah.
really think it would be that helpful to see her in action because, for the most part, we see her behind that sliding door. It's almost like she's trapped. Like they're symbolizing how much she feels burdened by these suitors who are just constantly wreaking havoc in her castle. She has no control, really. Like
Hmm.
she's the queen in title alone. She has no real power. Um, that personally didn't bump for me just because I felt it felt suffocating for the character. Like I felt
Hmm.
that way alongside her.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and
Mhm.
that's kind of, and this is the other nitpick. It's like a fake one because it is the Odyssey, but there is a lot of this movie about like, okay, they're gonna go to this island and they're gonna encounter this obstacle, and it's like, okay, run back to the ship and go to this place. Um, it's the Odyssey, so yeah, you have to do that. Um, I would have. I feel like if I didn't know anything about the Odyssey, or this was an original movie, I feel like I would have watched that, and I would have gotten a little bit tired of it.
Mhm. It felt like all bad roles in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Like every single time, it was just a bad
Yep.
decision where they went to go.
Yeah.
For me, the only thing that bumped is not necessarily Tom Holland. Like I know some people have been going against his performance. Um, like I think that his performance is fine. Like I don't think he did a bad job. It's just he's so noticeably Tom Holland. He doesn't look very different
Yeah.
compared to everyone. Give him some like scar or something. Do something. Make him
Hmm.
look not like himself a little bit. And I think that he's able to pull it off. Make him look ugly. It's probably hard to do, but that would be my pitch. I think, but Telemachus, to me, his arc is probably like the least satisfying, and that might also be translating to the performance
Hmm.
because we spend like the first 20 or so minutes with him in his perspective, and it works. Like I think to build up to Odysseus really well. But him doing all this training and stuff, and then he doesn't really do much else throughout the movie. I wasn't really interested in his plot going to see Helen of Troy. All of
Right.
those scenes, they aren't bad for the movie. Like I understand why they're important and I understand how it leads him to his dad, but I don't really
Hmm.
think uh like for me, like I felt more zoned out in those scenes. I was more invested in everything else. Um,
I would
but
agree.
very small thing. Yeah.
I would agree. It's not like that interesting. I also don't know if I can kind of tell you what his overall arc was.
Hmm.
Maybe other than him learning the value of patience, I guess.
Yeah. Well, he's also supposed to like it's supposed to be more like coming of age for him, where he's supposed to
Yeah,
become the king. It didn't feel like the most earned thing in the world. Like
I agree.
it felt like Odysseus carried the whole like battle. So yeah.
Yeah, he kind of did. Um, now I didn't dislike his character, but he
Yeah.
definitely was not a standout.
Yeah. And it's funny saying this knowing like how I feel truly about the rest of the movie, but it just like that's like the only thing that sticks out to me as like negative. Um, for me, the rest of the film is outstanding, and I think really Matt Damon gives like a
Yeah,
career
fantastic.
performance. It's fantastic. I really cannot think of a time where I enjoyed him on screen more than maybe since I watched Talented Mr. Ripley. He's really great in
Hmm.
that. Um,
Yeah,
I would love to. This.
I think the last time I really loved a Matt Damon performance was The Martian. I
Mhm.
know you haven't seen it, but I think yeah, I mean he kind of carried that movie just the way just like he carries this one. Except I do think out of all the Matt Damon movies I've seen, I feel like this is his best work, honestly.
Mhm. I haven't seen The Martian, which is probably his second biggest movie, so I would need
Hmm.
to think about that. But like for sure, I think that he is great in this, and um, yeah, I mean, if he were to be a major Oscar contender, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, if he does not get a nomination, at least I feel like we are in for a year of like amazing performances. um, I feel like if
Yeah,
the Os, personally, I feel like if the Oscars were held today, he's kind of the front runner for best lead actor. Of course, we're only halfway through the year, so we'll see. But yeah, I mean, that's how good I think his performance was. I think when it comes to leads, personally, out of the movies I have seen, I think he might have been the best.
yeah, of this year for sure. For me,
Yeah,
I
but yeah,
totally agree.
and
Um,
I feel like his the Odysseus arc was incredible because I read it, I didn't think I hated Odysseus when I read it. When I read the Odyssey in high school,
mhm.
I like, and not just me. I feel like literally everybody in my class hated Odysseus, and I loved him in this movie. His flaws his flaws of like pride was still there, but he has a very very beautiful arc that I thought at least was missing from the version of the text that I.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I think that just the decisions he makes, like when and where. I think his dynamic with I forget the character's name, but Himesh Patel's character is also really good because
Yeah.
basically it's like him and his whole team of soldiers, um, and their respect for him wanes a lot. Like they do not like him for what he's doing,
Hmm.
and like I don't blame them. Like a lot of them are dying, but he's making reasonable decisions, and the way that he's going about them, I think had like he clearly had a like or sorry, the writing clearly understood like what Odysseus is meant to be, and like I just
Yeah.
felt like I don't know, it felt like watching a real hero on screen for the first time, and not just someone who's like super quippy and is like, I've got to save the world because like I'm awesome, like all these other superhero movies keep doing, where they're like,
Yeah.
I've got powers now. Oh my gosh, I gotta save the world. Like screw you, have a character. um, but yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like his flaw wasn't so overpowering. It didn't like overpower everything.
Mhm.
Like obviously he fucks up with the shooting the Cyclops in the eye, right? And that's a big moment in the book as well. And but I feel like after that, most of what most of what his decisions were pretty justified. Um,
Mhm.
and there was a couple of moments we could argue he kind of messes up, but it didn't feel like his pride got like too in the way. I mean, when they go to Cersei, he he does ultimately end up saving them. Uh, Even like when they go to the Giants, like he doesn't really do anything to make matters worse. The only decision later he makes that they don't like is choosing uh choosing the route with is it what's the monster that grabs six of them?
I don't know what the name of it is, but it is like it's funny. We both read it, but like, oh my gosh, like how am I gonna remember
Yeah,
these names?
yeah,
It's like a tentacled monster, and they're on a ship, and they're faced with either a whirlpool or or a ravine,
yeah,
um, like a cavern type. Like
yeah,
anyway, you go, and he's like, he decides to let them go that way, but they get attacked by it. They have to turn around, and then they're able to go around the whirlpool. If they didn't do that, then they just go to the whirlpool and they all die. And
yeah,
they're like mad. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
it's an obvious choice.
Mhm. And it's one of those things where um, you will understand as leader why he makes that decision, because he does. You see that he cares about his men and he does want all of them to
Mhm.
survive. but he's told that if you try to save them all, then you will all die. Um, but then you also understand why his men are like, dude, screw you. You knew that. You knew this was
Hmm.
gonna happen.
Yeah. On top of that, like he loses his whole army by the end of
Yeah.
like the second act, pretty much.
Yep.
Leading
Because
into the third.
they ate the sun gods' uh, cows.
Mhm. Yeah, which is not smart. And and then coming back to his home, everything is completely upside down from when he left it. Um, I really got that sense of like regret from him and like him becoming this
Mm-hmm.
like pariah, this like fake beggar. I thought that was really, really well done. It kind of low key reminded me of like Jesus. I'm not even gonna lie, like Jesus in disguise, like
Yeah,
coming in
a little
to
bit.
save the day.
Mm-hmm. And then
Um,
I mean, oh my god, I love that entire thing where, and yeah, that's where you see his arc, and he remembers Troy, and
mhm,
I kind of love the way this movie presented the Trojan horse, which is like it was always like this epic thing. Like, oh my god, they did this, they tricked them, and it's basically the way that we kind of heard about it through. I mean, it's been parodied endlessly, and we've like, of course, in the Odyssey, the Ithaca, and even in other movie adaptations, it's always portrayed as like this epic thing, this epic trick. The way
mhm,
that Travis Scott was telling the story to everyone, it's like, oh my god, it's so awesome, right?
mhm,
And he comes home and he's regretful, and he's like,
mhm,
damn, I wish we didn't do that. Because I mean, it's the line that really sticks to me. It sticks out to me is he says to burn Troy was like burning the world and burning your soul with it,
mhm.
and it kind of shifts him
Yeah,
from an epic to almost an anti-war story.
definitely. Like I was, and I was not. I was almost expecting it to go there. It's funny because I mean, after watching Oppenheimer, a lot of people were trying to say like, "Oh, this movie is pro-war," and I think that this movie, well, it was definitely in pre-production, like before Oppenheimer was like
Mm-hmm.
even like done being edited. I think this movie is like a big slap in the face to all the people that said that Oppenheimer is a pro-war
Yeah,
movie because like you
yeah.
cannot watch the Odyssey and think that after seeing it.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even get how people watch Oppenheimer and say it's pro-war.
Yeah, well, because they're not paying it. They don't. Media literacy is dead, Rohan. We all know this. Now, with that said, while war is bad, there are some fun monster giant
Yeah.
fight scenes. I really want to know, like, because usually on the podcast we go over like our standout scenes, like we're used to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to go ask you like of the main like whenever whenever Odysseus goes to an island, what was your favorite of the different encounters?
Hmm. Okay, so we can't talk. So not the third act, right? Not the
Yeah,
trial thingy
not the
or the
trial and
challenge. Yeah.
not the fall of Troy. I think
Uh huh.
just like the creature time. So,
So I think so. I feel like the most fun scene to watch was the giants.
mhm,
Um, I will say I feel like that is one that you could, if Nolan were to take something out, you could kind of take that scene out because I don't know if that really does anything for the story because I think all the other ones have like it reveals character or does something. I feel like the Giants is just oh my god, this is
mhm.
a crazy action sequence.
Yeah.
But yeah, when this movie comes out and there's going to be clips on YouTube, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to watch the whole movie because I don't have that time, and I'm just going to watch a clip. I feel like the Giants is the one I will go back to.
Yeah, that one is very high up there for me. I do agree. Like it's not the most impactful, but I mean he loses a lot of men, and
Yeah.
that does start to cause distrust. So I think the more casualties, probably the better for
Hmm.
the arc and everything that
Yeah.
goes on. For me, I'm the big horror nut. I thought the
Hmm.
Cyclops scene
Yeah.
was almost perfect. Like there was only one thing that I was confused about, which was there's like a part where they get he leads them out of the cavern, but then he goes back in, and then it
Yeah.
cuts back to everyone in the cave. I was confused if like everyone was still in the cave or if they all went back in later. I was super confused by what happened there.
I think basically what happened was about half of them got out, something
I
like
see.
that. And before the cave was sealed again, he ran back in for the rest of his men.
Okay, that's what I thought happened. I just wanted to clarify that I did not like blink and miss something,
Hmm.
which I probably did. Uh, so knowing
Yeah,
that now,
this.
I do think that scene is perfect. I mean, just the tension of are you gonna wake the sleeping giant?
Yeah.
This-
Hmm.
Sorry, that's
And
a
then
reference to something. Yeah.
did you see the behind the scenes about the Cyclops?
No,
Or
I did not.
yeah, so they literally built a giant 60-foot puppet and controlled it for the Cyclops. Um,
That's crazy.
yeah, and I mean, I kind of loved a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. Even the giants, they
Mhm.
literally cast like men who were like 7 feet, and then they cast people who were like 5 feet. I mean, Matt Damon's stunt
Mhm.
double in that sequence was a woman, um, and
Wow,
according to him, it was like a woman with like the buffest arms he's ever seen.
that
And
is
then
awesome.
just yeah, through like camera angles and the lenses, they just were able to make the tall man look just that massive.
Yeah, I mean the tall men in this movie and Agamemnon specifically, like they
Oh
all look
yeah,
so threatening. I mean, get Christopher Nolan to direct Fire Emblem, like, because like he will make the
yeah,
Black Knight look freaking terrifying.
hmm
I bet.
yeah. Agam. No, I can't.
Agamemnon,
Agamemnon.
Agamemnon. Yeah,
Agamemnon.
Bowser Jr.
Yep.
Oh, wait, no, sorry, I need to do the voice. Bowser Jr. That's how it goes on the slide screen.
Yeah. Oh, he
Yeah.
was so cool in this movie. I mean, just the part when the gates burst open,
Mhm.
and then he walks in, and the entire internet has been saying he's just aura farming. But he
Yeah.
kind of was, and like it worked.
It's so that's the Trojan scene, like everything to do with that is just amazing. I really thought, that it was going in such an interesting direction. I loved how they also held back from seeing the whole fight for that emotional
Hmm.
reveal of Odysseus regretting it. I mean, I know we kind of already talked about it, but like it really stuck with me. And that it was that moment in the movie that I knew like this is like potentially one of my favorites of the year.
Yeah.
If not my favorite, I would say.
Hmm. Yeah. And I mean, can we talk about the ending a little bit?
Yeah.
The challenge. Of course, you
Mhm.
know that everyone's gonna fail the challenge. You know that, but it's still. Don't get me wrong, the fight sequence is awesome, but the it's still so just seeing Odysseus strum the bow
Mhm.
and was so satisfying, especially because I feel like he always he didn't strum the bow every time he goes into battle. He strums it when he's hunting, when like he's hunting his prey, and I feel like that's the moment. It's like, oh yeah, like all those men, that is his prey, or they are his
Yeah,
prey.
it is such a satisfying moment, and big ups to Robert Pattinson, my current most watched actor of the year, who, because I've seen three Twilight movies with my friends, and the drama, but he is great in this
Oh
movie
yeah,
as Antil Anton Antil Antillinus, I think. Antil
and something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he is excellent in this movie, and it is just like he is just like the perfect sniveling like turd that you
Yep.
just can't wait to get crushed at the end. And
Yep.
that when it breaks down to
Backseat
this
gaming.
fight, yeah, he felt like Lex Luthor in Superman.
Yeah.
What a like not doing anything, but technically doing it all.
Yep.
Um, Great stuff.
Yeah. I also got to talk about the music. I have been, um, again, it's Ludwig Göransson.
Hmm.
He's been doing. I mean, he did the score for Oppenheimer. He did the score for Tenet also. Um,
Hmm.
I think until, yeah, I think it was always Hans Zimmer before then. And I've been
Hmm.
listening to this score a lot. I feel like this is the best score from Ludwig Göransson, at least the best like Nolan score. Um, I mean, yeah, it's just awesome, especially the Odysseus track, as well as chasing the chasing the sun, something like that. Those two tracks are just incredible.
Yeah, it's a really great one. I don't know if I can safely say it's my favorite from him, but I really enjoyed it the whole way through. And I also even like the Travis Scott song. Um, Travis
I did
Scott
not,
Bard was not
yeah,
expected.
I did not like the Travis Scott song before I watched the movie.
Okay.
Um, and then I watched the movie, and after that, I actually did like it.
His an interesting casting choice. Like, I just don't like, is that meant to be stunt casting, or is that meant to be like, cause like I'm not surprised. Like, I'm not saying Travis Scott cannot make a transition to acting. Like, I'm sure he
Hmm.
might want to, but I just am like, is he like? It's almost like like Tyler the Creator and Marty Supreme. It's like, okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
know he's an actor. I know hell, he was really good in the role,
Hmm.
but he had a much meatier role. Travis
Yeah.
Scott was maybe in two scenes, so it's like it feels more like a stunt casting type thing, which doesn't bump for me because he didn't really. If not for our good friend Carlos whispering in my ear, "That's Travis Scott," I probably would not have recognized him right immediately. So
Yeah. I think Nolan just likes Travis Scott. Um,
okay,
like because he also Travis Scott did a song for Tenet,
okay,
called The Plan, and of course he's back with the Odyssey, and then so I think he just likes him, and we have seen Nolan cast musicians in more significant roles. Um,
hmm,
I think the biggest one is being David Bowie in The Prestige, although I think you could argue that David Bowie was also kind of an established actor. He's been in other stuff as
yeah,
well. Um,
yeah. He had been in quite a lot. I
yeah.
still want to see Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. I really want to see that
Mhm.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, ultimately, I think that's literally what it comes down to. Is I think Nolan just likes. He's just a fan of Travis Scott, and he was having Travis Scott do a song, so it. I
Hmm.
feel like it was just more like, hey, why don't you have a little cameo here?
Yeah. There are some other casting decisions that seem to have been brought up throughout the
Yeah,
last few weeks. Personally, I don't really care. I think
it's
that
just forced controversy.
yeah, I think everyone in the movie is cast really well.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Hell, I have an anecdote about growing up, like, not to get too deep in it, but like my theater teacher mentioned, um, you know, for the role of like Peter Pan, she cast like a girl to play Peter Pan because she was literally the best of everyone. despite and she didn't change Peter Pan, like the character, like she was playing a boy, kind of like even in old school Shakespearean time, men were playing women back in Shakespearean times, and so it's like for whatever reason, there seems to be this idea that like if you
Hmm.
are of some sort of background or whoever you are, you can't play someone. It's like no, like you can be anyone. Like it does not matter. I Helen of Troy did not exist. So I don't understand why this is such a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just dumb. And I mean, if you're really like, no, none of them are Greek. Like, not Matt Damon, not Anne Hathaway. I know Himesh Patel is one
Amanda
that's recently
Seyfried and
been.
Mamma Mia.
Yeah, I know Himesh Patel has been one that's been singled out recently, like because I guess he's the one who says we're Greeks from Ithaca or something like that, and everyone's like, no, you're
Mhm.
not, you're Indian. And I think I saw a great response where it was like, India's a lot closer to Greece than Boston is to than Boston is to Greece, and y'all don't have a problem with Matt Damon.
I think for me, what like the only thing that sticks out in the casting for me is that the same thing I brought up earlier, which is like
Tom
this
Holland.
podcast comes full circle. No, no, I mean like the big
Okay.
stars. I mean yes, like Tom Holland, because it's very obvious when they come on screen. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's who that is. There's a lot of actors in this movie that blend into their roles. I mean, I think Matt Damon does it.
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway. I think the only really unknown the only actor that I was like, I do not recognize this person at all is the actress playing Cersei. I don't know who that is. I thought she did a great job.
Yeah.
I wish that more films by big budget directors who have like a lot of stuff would start casting some more unknown, like lesser known actors, get them some more spotlight. I mean, this could be a
Hmm.
good vehicle for them. And I think to some extent he did. I mean, like I'll be honest, I've not really heard of Himesh Patel before this. Like I knew of him, but I
Hmm.
hadn't seen him in anything. Um, I'm sure that this is probably someone's first experience with some people like Mia Goth, or even
Yeah.
like hell, like revisiting John Leguizamo. Like I've never seen him in such a dramatic role. He did a great job.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Um, some more of the soldiers, I think, and
Hmm.
stuff like a lot of those people, you know, I think there are a couple roles like such as oh, who does Charlize Theron play? What's her
Calypso.
character? Calypso. Like
Yeah.
Calypso could have been played by anyone. Um
Yeah.
Not that Charlize Theron does a bad job, but just saying like, that could have been anybody.
Yeah. In my opinion, there's like four true like big standouts where I'm like, oh my god, the casting was perfect, the performance was perfect. It is Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, not Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson. I don't know why I said Tom Holland, and John Leguizamo.
Yeah. I agree. I also would add Benny Safdie to that. I know that sounds silly. I know he's not in the movie a lot, but genuinely, like, okay, they could have probably made anyone look like that, but he was so scary, and like his
Yeah.
facial features are like perfect for that role. And then you take off his suit of armor, he looked like a string bean. What was up with that? I thought he was gonna be like massive. He was like he was
Yeah.
like Luigi, like
Uh
lanky as
huh.
hell.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now it is time to give the Odyssey a score. As a reminder, or in case you're new here, we score things on the script coverage scale. Pass when we think something is not too good. Consider when we think it's decent. Recommend when we think it's great. As a reminder, this is not a recommendation; it's just a score. So, with that said, Kevin, how do you score the
Recommend.
Odyssey? Yeah.
Recommend.
Yeah.
Recommend. Recommend. um
Yeah, same here. It's. I mean, in case you couldn't tell, uh, by everything else, I know I had some minor nitpicks at the beginning, but that's why it's called a nitpick. Uh, ultimately this movie just works on so many levels. And yeah, it was awesome and probably is my favorite movie of the year.
Same. I think, this takes me back to like some really old school like movies I would watch when I was growing up. Or maybe not old school, but like big blockbusters that like got me playing with like my action figures. I used to love like Pirates of the Caribbean, so a lot of the water
Hmm.
ship scenes were so impressive to me. Um, just a lot of fun, and yeah, I can't wait to see what Nolan's cooking up next. Is there any like buzz on like what he's working on?
I don't know. I have heard people say he should do a horror movie as the next movie. I have some thoughts. I mean, I think listen, if he wants to do a horror movie, great. But I also there's a bunch of people who are like, hey, Nolan should make a movie for like less than $10 million. Let's see how he, you know, and like, or he should make a straight up like romantic comedy or something like that. And I'm like, listen, he puts out like one movie every 3 years. Um, he is, in my opinion, the best guy when it comes to big budget spectacle movies. Let him do more of that. Um, we get plenty of awesome low budget horror movies. We don't get plenty of awesome big budget spectacle movies like this.
Yeah.
If he's gonna do one movie every 3 years, like I want it to be huge.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could see a world where he does like a big horror adaptation. Like, I know we just got
Yeah,
GDT's Frankenstein. I know we also have had so many Dracula and vampire stuff. I'm very sick of it, honestly. I think
yeah,
the thing that Nolan would be really good at would be like either a zombie movie or like some sort of apocalyptic movie.
hmm,
I think he'd be really good at that because he's had some experience with that with like Interstellar kind of teeters on that with the like what they need to do, all the dust and stuff
yeah,
that they're doing. I think there's definitely avenues for him to create horror, and the Cyclops scene is like just like perfect
yeah,
horror tension. um I think there's a lot that he could pull off, but I think you're right. Like, I don't want to see him direct. Like, quite frankly speaking, anyone who says like I want to see him direct a rom com, no, you don't. I'll just
yeah,
tell you now, you don't want to. It will
yeah.
suck. Like,
See, I'm not saying it'll suck, but the motivation for that, and I feel like I'm gonna compare it to sports. It's a very like sports like motivation of like, okay, who's the best director, who's the GOAT, and you have to show like versatility. Like,
yeah.
okay, if one of the knocks on a guy like Steph Curry is he is an amazing shooter, the greatest shooter the NBA has ever seen. But when it comes to like everything else, he doesn't really stand out. He's all right. Um, and I think that's the knock of like, if Nolan wants to be in that conversation of greats, he's got to show that he can do all types of genres with all different types of budgets.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I don't care about like Nolan proving that he can do this. I just want Nolan to make awesome movies.
Yeah, I agree with that. And for
Hmm.
me, the reason I think it would suck is just because like his best mode of storytelling is like this male protagonist who usually the like his female protagonists are not like that active in the story. I don't think that his direction and his style of storytelling would translate well to that genre. And I
Hmm.
think people wanting him to do that is just like, they're just sadists. Like they
Yeah.
just wanted to do it because they want to see what it would be. But like
Hmm.
honestly, I don't think that it would be worth seeing. I'd rather just see what is his new original big sci-fi blockbuster explosion. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I
you wouldn't
know
ask
not a lot of
him
people
to.
love Tenet, but it's like I love Tenet. It's just something. Yeah, that's something that only Nolan could do, and that's kind of what I want.
Yeah, and that's why he's great, and I think he's one of the best directors of all time. Um, Heck, Inception and Interstellar for me are also tens. And I think on Letterboxd I've given the Odyssey a 10. Uh,
Hmm.
I think it's slightly weaker than those movies, but still overall, I mean, the fact that I got something as
Hmm.
spectacular as that, as those two, like, oh my gosh, like we are so back. That's all I have to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. I think Interstellar is still my favorite movie by him. Although I know that's not necessarily that popular of a take. It's actually a lot of people consider that his worst movie. Um,
Mhm,
but yeah, I would say for me, Odyssey is like on par with Oppenheimer.
mhm. I know that we're really like deep into this episode, but what else have you been watching?
Let's see. Oh, I started Widow's Bay on Apple. I'm only 2 episodes in, but it's really cool. It's like this town that's isolated on an island. They don't even have like Wi-Fi, um, and it's basically the mayor is trying to like modernize it and get tourism. But then they have a spooky past where there's been like murders and ghost sightings. So it's it is a horror comedy, and so far the episodes feel like the first 20 minutes it's comedy, 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 and the last 10 minutes are horror. And yeah, it's pretty good.
It
What
kind of
about you?
reminds me of the show.
Oh,
That
sorry.
that show kind of reminds me of the show I used to watch called Harper's Island that came out on CBS. Um,
Oh.
I think like I want to see Widow's Bay specifically because I wonder if it's Harper's Island vibes.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I got to check it out. I've been hearing good things.
Yeah,
Um,
it's good.
so I watched Evil Dead Burn. It is the new film in the Evil Dead trilogy, but by the new production team. I'm a big fan of this team. Shout out Jose Cañas. I follow you on Letterboxd. Um, I will say, like, I think that there's still a lot of good elements about it. Like, I think the production quality is still solid. Like, um, the movies look good, and I think that the practical mix of practical and digital effects that they're doing with the deadites and everything, it's all creepy. It's all just like, it makes you feel uncomfortable. Um, but I think the story was a lot weaker. I rewatched Evil Dead Rise before watching this, and I enjoyed
Hmm.
that movie a lot more. But
That's
it's
the one
it's
that
not
came
bad.
out. Evil Dead Rises what came out a few years ago, right?
Yeah,
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 I
we
loved
me and
that
you both
one.
saw it in the theater. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, that one was awesome.
That's it's good. Yeah, I really like that one. I think Burn is a little bit of a step down. It's also not the same director. It's not Lee Cronin. Um, and I think part of what didn't work for me was just the story. But who knows? Maybe I'll
Hmm.
talk about it later in the year or going over the end of the month. But yeah.
All right. And just like that, that's it for our Odyssey discussion. We went as almost as long as the actual movie did, but but we're through it now.
We're two
Um,
hours shy of that, Rohan.
but yeah, thank you so much for watching or listening. As a reminder, please do subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. And we will catch you next week.
Do it or
Thank you.
Rohan will hurt me. Thank you.
Bye.